Hi, everyone. Good evening. I am Charmaine Brown. I am in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and I am your host tonight with mental health, a holistic impact on your Impact Gospel radio station. Welcome again, and I am happy that you're here. So, we're going to discuss today mental health and what it is and why we need to do it. Just fixing my camera a little bit here. So I was talking to someone today or yesterday, and the person reminded me that I do a lot of I say a lot of and so I was telling the person that I might say a lot of but the thing is, I remember in 2003, I believe, when I wanted to become a nurse and I passed the exam into one of those permanent school in Kingston, Jamaica. And what happened was that the they did an interview, and the lady, one of the instructors, said to me during that interview, I was saying a lot of arms. And so that she said she's going to recommend me to join a group and socialize to cut down on my arms. And so last evening, when I was doing the research for this program, I was saying arms as well. And somebody said to me, I'm saying a lot of arms, and then I reflect that my arms are my faults, but it doesn't make me feel sad or anything. I'm happy that I am able to say I'll try not to say in this program. So welcome, mental health, and we're going to look at what is mental health and how we navigate through our daily lives having mental health issues, and how we can um, ensure that we stay in adequate mental health. So what is mental health? Mental health is experiencing adequate physical, emotional, and spiritual well, which includes our thoughts, our actions, and our behaviors. Mental health highlights the techniques that we use to problem solve, handle stress, seek assistance, deal with others, and make choices and navigate through our activities of daily living. In other words, it's how we manipulate our day to day journey. And we all know that life can be difficult and sometimes we have issues, but it's how we navigate through those issues that allows us to be in either adequate mental health or an unstable mental health. For some people, life can be difficult to manage, and there are others who have coping skills, effective coping skills. Mental health starts from childhood. We were groomed to become resilient, to change what is around us and within us if it's chaotic. So from childhood, your parents teach you how to navigate, how to use strategies and how to overcome. So when a person has mental health issues such as anxiety, depression, and mood disorder, it affects the overall body system. It affects the whole entire life. Our whole entire life is affected and can be affected. Our whole body system can be affected. Issues that can affect our mental health or allow us to have mental health issues are genetics. It runs in the family. There are some families that have persons in it that suffered from schizophrenia. There are some family that has members in it that suffers from mood disorder or even psychosis. Our chemistry in our brains can allow us to suffer from mental health illnesses too when we are going through additional hormones that affects our brain chemistry. When we are experiencing stress, that spill a lot of hormones in our body system, in our bloodstream. It can allow us to go through a period of mental illness. When we have a family history of mental illness, and when we ourselves is diagnosed with a mental illness, we pain can cause mental health instability, anxiety can do it, and depression can also do that as well. So, what are the signs and symptoms of not feeling well mentally? What are things that we can see when persons are not feeling that great? Some of the things that we can see when we're not feeling well is a sense of loss and hopelessness. We feel like nothing is going on, and we lost hope, we lost faith. Ineffective sleeping pattern, we're not sleeping well, or we're sleeping too much, or we cannot fall asleep, and when we fall asleep we cannot stay asleep. Not conversing with others and not doing our normal activities, we're slacking up. Avoiding friends and families, we are being isolating ourselves from others. We lock ourselves away. We normally have a presence on social media. We're not on social media anymore. Disassociation, a feeling of numbness or disconnection from others. We have aches and pains that are not able to be explained. You go to the doctor for aches and pain, and they cannot find what's happening to us. They cannot find what's happening to us. So it becomes somatic. They start to refer us to a psychiatric or psychology or a psychotherapist. Using drugs, illicit drugs, marijuana, alcohol, even your prescription drugs. You're using your prescription drugs. Doctor order 1 milligram lorazepam twice a day. You're doubling up your medication. Whether it's lorazepam or any other medication, you're doubling them up because you think whatever was prescribed not helping. We're using food and other substance to fill the void. We have a void that something is wrong, something is missing, and we're filling that void. We have no motivation to come out of bed. We have to meet our goals. We have uncontrolled anger towards family, friends, co-workers, even strangers. You go on the bus and you see someone, or someone just pass you and touch you too hard. You start shouting at them and screaming at them, and you even might push them and hurt them. You don't know where this anger is coming from. You cannot identify what happened and what's going on within you. You're confused, worried, you have fears, unforgetfulness, unforgiving. You have a mood swings, which affects not only you, it affects the relationships that you're in, whether it's with your spouse, children, parents, or your friends. You're nating about things. You're thinking about these things in your head. You're thinking about finances. You're thinking about what's going on with you, a specific illness. You're thinking about things that are out of your control, or even things that you can control. You're thinking about it too much. Your mind is not settled. You might have visual, auditable, tactile hallucination. You might have disillusion, a lack of self, a lack of responsibility for your children, a lack of responsibility for work, lack of responsibility for your your home, things that you normally do. You are not responsible for them anymore. You don't show any interest. Having thoughts of suicide or even homicide. You want to hurt somebody, or you want to hurt yourself, or you even attempt suicide or homicide. These are signs that something is not right mentally. What are some mental health problems that persons might have? You might have depression, You might have anxiety, mood disorder, bipolar disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder. You're obsessive about your safety. You live in a neighborhood, you're not sure if it is safe for you. And so what you do, you keep checking this door. You go to your main door, all the doors in your house, and you keep checking them to see if you're safe. You want to be safe, and so you check them 15 minutes ago, and you went back and you check them again, and you go 5 more minutes, and you get no sleep for the whole entire night because you're obsessive and compulsive about what's going on, and your behavior shows it. You might have eating disorders, panic attacks. Most persons have panic attacks from anxiety, and anxiety is one of those illness that research doesn't show any reason why the person might have anxiety. There's no reason for that. But the person have anxiety to the fact and to the point where that person has to get help and get medication to help them. What are the body systems that are affected by mental health alteration? All the body system. We have 11 body systems, and all of them are affected. All of them are affected. Our neurological system, our brain become distorted. We are confused. We are forgetful. We are drowsy. We are sad. Headaches, neck pain. We can't sleep. We have fainting spells, all because we are having an anxiety attack, or all because we are not feeling well mentally. Our cardiovascular system, our heart rate starts to palpitate. We feel like we can't breathe. Our hands and our palms and our feet are sweaty. We feel cold. We feel hot. Our nose running. Like we have all these heart issues that are going on in our cardiac system. Our respiratory system are affected as well. We start having shortness of breath. We feel like we are hyperventilating. We feel like we're going to pass out. We are sneezing. We have runny nose because our immune system has broken down from such stress. Because normally when we have stress, we don't eat much. We don't eat the food that would normally keep us safe, would normally boost our immune system. And so what happened is that our immune system break down, causing respiratory problem where we are catching the flu when we never normally catch the flu. Our GI tract is affected. We either have diabetes, we have from eating too much sweet, we have constipation, diarrhea, vomiting, nausea. We take too much food in, or we don't take any food at all in. We have heartburn, stomach pain, regurgitation, bloating, all these things because our mind is not well. Our renal system is affected. We start becoming dehydrated, or we are putting out too much urine because either we are drinking too much because we are stressed, or we are not drinking at all because we are stressed. So the kidneys are not functioning well. It put out too much urine, or it's not putting out any urine at all. Our reproductive organs, we're either menstruating too much, we are not menstruating, we lack, we have pain, we cannot become fertile, we become infertile. Some men have erectile dysfunction from the stress. We have itching in our perineal area. All these things happening because of the stress that the mental health disorder putting on our body. What about our skeletal system? We become weak, tired, fatigue, muscle pain, pain that we never normally have. We become lethargic. We cannot get out of bed. Our skin becomes dry, itchy. Our hormones become raging in us and becoming chaotic, causing problems. And all of this are going on with us. Some persons don't realize that when we are not well mentally, whether we are having anxiety or we're having depression, we're thinking too much about our work, whatever is causing that distress on us, it affects everywhere in our body. Everywhere is affected. And if you don't believe me, if you have ever gone through it, you can reflect and think about the things that have happened to you. If you're going through a mental problem right now, you can reflect and think about what's going on with you and inside of you and around you. How children, teenagers, elderly, and the adults are affected. So, children are grossly affected by mental health. Their mental health can be grossly affected, depends on what's going on around them. Some children, they are bullied and they're afraid to go to places that are they are bullied. They shy away. They start not taking part in things that they normally do take part in. They're afraid. They cannot sleep. They cannot eat. They start when if persons start talking negative things over them, there's you thought negative things over the children's life, saying they're becoming good for nothing. They're like one of their parents, which is a negative thing. It's not positive. Some persons don't describe them to their parents as a negative, as a positive thing, but something negative. And this allows them to become very angry, disrespectful, because there's no one to listen to them. And when they speak, when the person hear what they say, they misunderstood what they say. And so this even make them more frustrated. Most of school shooting, for instance, that occur, these people were not in their right mind when they shoot up the school. No, they were going through mental illness, some mental distortion, some abuse. And so they take it out on the world. They're angry with the world. They're angry. And so they show it in hurting themselves, hurting others, or just being total disrespectful. What about our adults? So, with our adult women, some women, they're affected, they become vulnerable, and with reasons such as not being heard. Sometimes a woman or women that are in relationship or just in a family per se, they're talking and they're not being heard, they're not being regarded, they're being abused, sexually exploited. They might have illness and pain that they cannot tell anyone about because they're fearful that they might not be taken seriously. They are seen as a lesser part of the relationship. They are not seen as a partner, they're seen as a homemaker. And so they feel inferior, and inferiority can allow that person to feel depressed and anxious, especially when you're ignored, you're not being heard. And some persons, some women are also undereducated, are not educated enough to get the job that they need, and this allow them to become frustrated because their finances are not meeting their goals that they want. This can affect their mental health. What about young men? We have young men that are going through health mental health issues as well. They're being labeled as worthless, good for nothing. Not all men, and even if they're not doing what they need to do at that moment, it doesn't mean that we should label them and call them good for nothing. Or it doesn't mean that we should just ignore them. We call them cheaters. Not all men are cheaters. You cannot use somebody fat to fry the other person. Somebody might cheat in a relationship. It doesn't mean the other person that comes in your life will cheat. And it doesn't mean that person who cheated before, it doesn't mean that they cannot change. Right? We give them the benefit of a doubt. Not being heard. They say something, they're talking about having a conversation, they're not being heard. And when they're when somebody listen, they're being misunderstood. The conversation is out of whack. That's not what they said before. They don't know how to express their emotions, because men are seen as the sick, weakened person when they express their emotions. They're seen as sissy, they're seen as gay, they're seen as not macho because they express their emotions. Men need to express their emotions too. Men goes through trauma and they go through abuse. They just are afraid to speak about it because they are afraid to be laughed at. They're afraid that they might be the joking person in the community. People will take them as a joker. They will be stigmatized. They're afraid. What about our elderly? Our elderly people. Our elderlies are being taken for a financial gain, some of them. Some of them are only check on when the other person needs something from them. That's not good. It allows them to become depressed or anxious or have mood swing. The elderly might be sick and don't know what to do. They don't go to the doctor because of cultural practices. They use their herbs, but they don't go for a checkup. Or when they need to go for a checkup, they don't have the money to pay. They don't have the money, they don't have the insurance. And this can also cause them to have mental alterations. So, I want you to know that we're on Impact Gospel Radio, and this is Mental Health, a holistic impact. And I'm Charmaine Brown. And we are talking about mental health. And we should think about who we might know that have mental health. We should think if we ourselves are suffering, and think about all the things that I've said. So now we're going to look at how to keep our mental health intact. What are we going to do to keep our mind at rest, to keep our mental health? What are we going to do among the problems that we have in life, among the challenges we have, the chaos that is going on? What are we going to do? So let's go through some of the things that we can do. And you might know others. You can type them in the boxes here, and you can share it with others what helped you and what is working for you. Share with us. So we need to recognize when we are not doing well. That's the most important thing. When we are not doing well, we need to know ourselves in such a way that we know when we are not feeling well. And it can be physical, because when you're going through physical pain, physical changes, it does affect your mental health. It can be mental, when you're going through mental changes, stress, anxiety, it affects your physical and your emotion, because we're holistic. And so one area of our lives affect all areas. It can affect our spiritual being. When our spiritual being are not being met appropriately, it can affect our physical, our mental, and our emotion. We're not separate. Okay? We recognize when others are not doing well. Sometimes we have our friends and we are not checking up on them. We don't know if they're doing well. We are not, and even if they don't look well, we don't ask them how they are doing. We need to be responsible for each other. We need to check on others. We need to recognize when things are not working. We need to recognize when our children are having problems in school, because most bullying occurs in the school environment. We need to know when their grades are falling. We need to know when their characteristic and their personality are changing. They used to be friendly and talking and be respectful to their elderly. No, they're not even talking. You're not even seeing them. They're locked in their room. And it's not that they're on social media. They are isolating. We need to talk. I cannot overemphasize the effect of talking and conversing. We need to converse with each other. We need to communicate what's happening. We need to talk about things. Because when we talk about things, what happened is that we realize that we are not the only one that is having that problem. And we realize that people are suffering in secret. They don't want to suffer in secret. They wish they get the help. But they're scared to tell someone because they're afraid that their confidence will not be kept and the privacy that they place in the person will not be upheld. And so they are scared. But when you start talking to someone, then you realize that they are going through the same problem. And don't judge somebody when they come to you. Don't judge them. When you judge people, they close, they stop communicating. They don't want to share anything else. And they're going to further depressive state and further anxiety state and mood disorder. Don't judge. Try to help. Tell someone. Other persons might help. When you tell somebody them, they might say, oh, I know somebody that was going through the same thing and they went to the doctor down the street and they get help. But if you don't talk, no one will know. Don't be scared. Don't be shy. Be brave. Don't keep it in secret. Join a group, a support group, mental health support group. They're online. Almost everyone has a phone. Almost, and most people phone, they can go online and research for supportive group and take each other seriously. Take each other seriously. Don't laugh when somebody come and tell you that they feel like they were going crazy. Don't laugh when somebody come and tell you that they were anxious to drive in the city. Don't laugh when somebody come and tell you that they were scared to go and do their blood work. Don't laugh. It's a real fact they're going through. When you laugh, you make them feel less than what they're supposed to feel. Let's help each other up. Be aware of what is happening around you. Take note of what is happening around you. Take note in your community. Because you have as from me, I'm from Jamaica originally. And the community used to be very tight knitted. You see somebody acting strange and not dressing right. They are dirty. That person never used to be like that. And all of a sudden that person is like that now. Something is wrong. Take note what is happening in your family. Take note what is happening around you and within you. Respect and love yourself. This is very important. Very important. Respect and love yourself no matter what they say, do, or think about you. Get professional help you if you must. Stay positive. Dance, cook, clean, whatever help you to stay mentally well. Do it. Do those little things that keep you healthy. Get into your activity and develop strategies and coping skills and use them regularly. Use these skills. The ones that help you, use them and maintain them and keep them in your toolkit. Take a stand and play your role. If you're a child, play your role as a child. Go to school, learn. If you're a woman, play your role as a woman. Get what you need to uplift you. If you're a man, play your role as a man. Take up your responsibility, the responsibility that God entrusted in you. Do it. Help yourself. Forgive others and forgive yourself. Involve God in your life. And most of you that are here on this platform, Impact Gospel Radio platform, are either Christian or was a Christian or want to become a Christian or something that has God in it. Use God. Keep him as your source. Use him. Challenge him. He's a miracle worker. He's there for you. Go and seek help from your pastor. Not all pastor will talk about you. There are good pastors and there are good leaders in church. There are good church people out there. Use them. Talk to them and trust them because God has put them there to take care of you. Because you're like the flock and they're like the shepherd. They take care of the sheep. I'm not saying all pastors will do it, but most pastors have integrity and practice with integrity. Okay? How can we get the help we need? When we're not feeling well, we should go to our medical doctor if we can. If when he does assessment on us and blood work and he can't find what is happening to us, then he will realize that it might be mental. And he will refer you to a psychologist or a psychotherapist like myself or a psychiatrist. And they are there to help you. As I said, talk to friends, talk to family members. There are organizations that are available to assist you, and they have their websites are there to help you as well. They have social worker that comes and check up on your family member if your family member not going out. They have support workers. They have case managers that will come and help you and contact us. As you can see on our board there, our mental health horizon.com. We have a team here that helps. So email us at info@mentalhealthhorizon.com. Tell us what's happening and let us get back to you and help you. So to conclude, mental health is having physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being that includes our thoughts, our actions, and our behaviors. It is finding ways to navigate the world in a positive way where we can problem solve and we can deal with stress and disappointments that may enter our daily lives. It allows us and help us to become resilient, to manage stress at work, at church, at home, or even within us. Because some of us are chaotic, you know. Some of us have are know that we should make a decision and are fighting that decision. We are living in a condition that we should not be living in, and we know that we should not be living in that condition, and we know that we should move from that condition, but we are fighting it. Should I move? If I move, I won't have these resources, and if I do not move, I will not feel healthy in my mind. And so we're having conflict of what to do. Resolve that. You have these strategies to resolve that. So we need to deal with the disappointment and the stress in our lives. We need that resiliency. There are various mental health issues like depression. I was just gonna say diabetes, like depression, anxiety, mood disorder. We need to take a hold of ourselves. We need to ensure that we get the help we need. A distortion in our mental health affects the whole body system. We have 11 body systems, 11 body systems, and all of them are affected when our mind is not settled, when our mind is not in good health. The whole human being is going to be affected, from our neurological system, our cardiac system, our respiratory system, our GI system. our reproductive system, our muscle, everything is going to be affected. So how can we what are we going to do? Ouch. Sorry about that. We're going to do things we can do to keep our mental healthy. Our formation and join mental health group. We're going to talk about the situations. We're going to do things that are enjoyable. We're going to get assistance that we need. We're going to show love and respect and forgiveness and to ourselves. We're going to show self-love to ourselves. We're going to love ourselves. We're going to forgive ourselves no matter what people say, think, or do towards us. It's our responsibility to take care of ourselves. We can get help, and if we are responsible for ourselves, we will seek that help. Allow God to be a part of our journey. We need God in our lives. If you need assistance, talk to your doctor. They will refer you to someone who can help. Talk to your family members and your friends and stay in contact. And contact us information or info@mentalhealthhorizon.com. And I'm going to end with Jeremiah 29 verse 11. And it says, and this is from the King James Version, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." We all have a future, and we have God by our side, and we need to stay in adequate mental health. Join me next week, Monday, at 6:30 Manitoba time, 7:30 New York time or Jamaica time, and we will do this again. We'll talk about different topics. If you have anything, any comments, I cannot see them from where I am right now, but leave the comments. I will address them next week. The first thing I do, I'll address them next week. If you have comment, if you have any question, leave the questions there. We are here to help you. And don't forget that Impact Gospel Radio is here for you. They have everything there. They have doctors, they have lawyers, they have social workers, they have me as a psychotherapist, they have leaders, and they are here and they are there to help you. Contact them. Have a good night, and we will see each other next Monday at 6:30 Manitoba time. And don't forget, leave your comment. Have a great night.